Where were the muftis in the 1940s? Where were they? Could they not see? If you're not allowed to speak, like my freedom to speak, I don't think will last for long again. And my freedom to travel, I don't think will last for long again. But if I don't have the freedom to speak, and if I don't have the freedom to travel, can't I at least write? Can't I publish something? So today, in the year 2007, I could pick up this paper written by a scholar of Islam in 1945, in which he analyzes the Bretton Woods Accord and declares that this is an international monetary system that is utterly fraudulent. Where do we have that document today? From Bretton Woods, therefore, emerged this international monetary system. The US dollar is pegged to gold. It is redeemable at $35 an ounce. But all the rest of the paper money in the world are now pegged to the US dollar. So when we ask, what is the value of the Malaysian ringgit? You have to answer and say, 340. 340 means what? 340 means 340 in exchanging to the US dollar. If you give the value of the Malaysian ringgit in terms of gold, they will ask you, where did you come from, Mars or Venus? Huh? So now all the paper money in the world are linked to the US dollar. And the US dollar is the only currency in the world redeemable in gold. The United States is a ruling state in the world, and it has as its mission to protect the state of Israel until Israel grows with massive economic help, massive financial help, massive transfer of military technology, until Israel becomes a superpower, until Israel can attack any state in Europe today, while the United States has the control over money. This is the ummah of Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam we're talking about. And then they established the International Monetary Fund. And when you study the articles of agreement of the International Monetary Fund, you see something strange. You see something strange. Prohibiting money to be linked with gold. You can link your money to rambutan, no problem. You can link your money to durian, no problem. You can link your money to anything that they sell in Pasar Malam, no problem. But you cannot link your money to gold. No, gold cannot be used as legal tender. Go ask your government of Malaysia today. Go and ask them, why is gold not allowed as legal tender? They cannot answer that question. None of them. No, they can't. Why? Because the IMF cannot answer that question. The Federal Reserve Bank of the United States cannot answer that question. Why have you prohibited the link between money and gold? Here is a letter written by Congressman Ron Paul, who is a candidate for the present presidential elections in the United States, regarding Article 4, Section 2B of the International Monetary Fund's Articles of Agreement. As you may be aware, this language prohibits countries who are members of the IMF from linking their currency to gold. Thus, the IMF is forbidding countries suffering from an erratic monetary policy from adopting the most effective means of stabilizing their currency. This policy could delay a country's recovery from an economic crisis and retard economic growth, thus furthering economic and political instability. I would greatly appreciate an explanation from both the Treasury and the Federal Reserve of the reasons the United States has continued to acquiesce in this misguided policy. Please contact Mr. Norman Singleton, my legislative director, if you require any further information regarding this request. Thank you for your cooperation in this matter. Ron Paul, United States House of Representatives. Ron Paul has been waiting 5 years for a reply. They will not answer. Why? Because the Bretton Woods Agreement and the International Monetary Fund, which emerged out of it, was designed to impose a financial dictatorship upon mankind. It is more than simply ripping off people, more than simply making Indonesia a poor country. It is actually financial dictatorship. When you have paper money with no intrinsic value, then you can modify and manipulate the value of the paper. Something called, I don't know if you've heard the term devaluation. Familiar with that? Devaluation. The Quran in 3 places has prohibited diminishing the value of people's wealth, property, services, goods. Allah says, وَلَا تَبْخَسُوا النَّاسَ أَشْيَاءَهُمْ. Do not diminish, make little the value of people's property, wealth, etc. وَلَا تَبْخَسُوا النَّاسَ أَشْيَاءَهُمْ. Okay. In April 1933, President Roosevelt of the United States, the Federal Reserve Bank has just been established in the United States, and it is a private institution, not a public institution. And in April of 1933, the US government enacts legislation prohibiting Americans, residents, from keeping gold money, gold coins, gold bullion. You can keep your jewelry. So gold is demonetized. Gold is no longer allowed as legal tender. If you're caught with gold after a certain date, then we're going to put you in jail for 6 months and fine you $10,000. So the American people rushed to exchange their gold for US dollars at 20 US dollars for 1 ounce of gold. Those who had some idea of the scam that was coming, the smart ones, like the ones who didn't go to work on 9/11, no? What they did was, they took all the paper money they could get and bought gold, the other way around. And then they shipped the gold to Switzerland. It's out of Uncle Sam's reach. After all the American people had exchanged their gold for US dollars, then in January of 1934, President Roosevelt removed the law, rescinded the law, remonetized gold. You're allowed now to keep your gold.